That was a great fight of the weekend. Luis Ortiz is one massive step closer now to being a world champion, the world champion, and actually getting a title shot at it. I think he's a good year away from getting a title shot now. I think he just needs to just one more person in the top 10. Maybe Kubrat Pulev he could set him up with, and that would be it. He'd be a mandatory on some belt. But that was a great fight, and for once, it actually played out exactly the way I thought it would be. Seventh round knockout, close fight with Bryant Jennings winning a couple of rounds. That's what I predicted, and that's what happened. So I'm quite happy with that. We found out what we pretty much already know about Luis Ortiz. He's a very skilled boxer, he's not just a big puncher. He's not just a fighter. I mean, it's quite obvious just by looking at his amateur record that's true. 343 wins, 19 losses as an amateur. He beat Mike Perez as an amateur, if anyone didn't know that. He's. I mean, some people think when after the face-off that Luis isn't that big a person, but when you watched him in the fight, he's far broader and he's far more massive than Bryant Jennings was, even though Bryant Jennings was a leaner and more muscular person. Luis, yes, okay, he's maybe a couple inches shorter than Wladimir Klitschko and Anthony Joshua, for example, but he's got a massive reach. He's got a massive reach advantage over Anthony Joshua and Wladimir Klitschko. He's got a huge 84-inch reach. Wladimir Klitschko's got an 81-inch reach, which is massive. Anthony Joshua's got an 82-inch reach. Well, so like I say, Luis has got that reach advantage, and it's a massive benefit, just as it was a benefit for Bryant Jennings, even though he was only 6'3". He's now proven he's got that power right at the top level, and he carries the power throughout the fight. 7th round knockout against the guy that's never been knocked down before, never been knocked out before, even though he's been against big punchers like Wladimir Klitschko and Mike Perez. Maybe it's to do with his more aggressive style. Maybe he just really is actually a bigger puncher than Klitschko and Mike Perez. We'll probably find out over the next few years which one's true. But he's got a aggressive style only when it needs to be aggressive though. He sits back and he takes his time and he'll box and he'll wait for that opening. And that's what I really like about this guy. He won't just punch himself out. He's proven he's got the stamina to go rounds. He already proved that before anyway. He's been at 10 rounds before. He's never had the opportunity to do a 12-round fight, but he never looked tired, I don't think, through that fight. If anyone looked tired through that fight, it was Bryant Jennings, and it was nothing to do with Bryant Jennings' conditioning. It was completely to do with how effective Luis is at throwing body shots and just taking the wind out of you and slowing you down and just wearing your body down with the body shots. I mean, Luis Ortiz he's very talented. I mean, he'll go for wherever the opening is, the head or the body. He'll use the correct combinations. He's amazing with them uppercuts. That's what he took Bryant Jennings out at the end. He's really good. He's got that Lennox Lewis uppercut, that'll knock you right out. He's very impressive. Just like he's got the punching power there. He took some good body blows and headshots, even though it doesn't prove he's got an iron chin yet. I mean, he's never been up against a highly skilled power puncher at the top level as a professional now. He has, though, as an amateur, and as far as I know as an amateur, he's never been knocked down and he's never been knocked out. From what I can find on the internet, obviously I've not watched all 360 of his amateur fights. I'm just going by what I can see, and it looks like he's got quite a solid chin, and he's a big guy. He looks like he can take a punch. I mean, 6'4", 240 pounds. Most guys at that size can take a hell of a punch. It's going to take quite a big accumulation of punches to wear him down. Another thing with Ortiz is he's got a really high work rate. Bryant Jennings was going in there throwing a lot of punches, and so is Luis. Luis could keep up with Bryant Jennings. Amazing stamina and pace. That's what Jennings has. He can go 12 rounds like that. That's what's really amazing about Bryant Jennings. Because Bryant Jennings is a very skilled boxer. He deserved to be in the top 10. This is the first top 10 opponent Luis has actually beat, as everyone knows, and now Luis is ranked number 7 in the world. he's jumped right up from being number 20 to number 7, so it's a huge leap forward into getting a title. Hopefully he can fight someone else in the top 10 next year. Kubrat Pulev, if they wanted to, just had a fight 2 weeks ago. If they could set something up. I know Pulev is another great fighter. I think he's amazing as well. He's got really fast hands and that. But Kubrat Pulev is still rebuilding his career since he lost to Wladimir Klitschko, and he's just fought 2 guys that have been ranked just in the top 100 there. Knocked the last one out in the first round. But I think maybe after Kubert's had fought someone else in the top 20, you'll go against Louise, and I think that would be a good title eliminator down the line there. Yeah, so I thought it was a great fight, and it proved a lot about Louise. A lot of people I was surprised at towards the end thought Bryant Jennings was actually going to beat Luis Ortiz. I couldn't see it. I just stuck to my guns. I thought it was going to be a 7th round knockout, and I was pleasantly right about the whole situation. So I can't wait. I want Luis to actually do well. I hope he gets a title shot. Probably 2017 looks likely. He's catapulted himself in front of Anthony Joshua and Joseph Parker right now. Bryant Jennings I'm surprised Bryant Jennings actually fought Luis. So it says a lot about how confident Bryant Jennings is in himself, and he should be. He's a great fighter.